Here is a beautiful little drama that is playing out in the EU as we speak. Poland, we're not going to accept migrants under EU quotas following the attacks in Paris. Kind of understandable, this was back in November of 2015. Poland's incoming European Affairs Minister said his government did not agree with Poland's commitment to accept its share of an EU-wide relocation of migrants. You know, the ones that Germany, Merkel herself, unilaterally let into the EU. She's the one who opened the borders, she's the one who said you would get money for going to Germany. Unsurprisingly, they got millions of migrants. Poland doesn't want any part of that. And they say, in a commentary published on the right-leaning news portal, whatever, he says, in the face of tragic acts in Paris, we do not see the political possibilities to implement this. Well, I can hardly blame him. And to be honest with you, I don't think the terrorism is even the worst part about the migrant crisis. I think it is the daily struggle that it puts upon people, as well as all of the crime that they have to deal with and the fact that they might well get raped and murdered by migrants. It's not a nice thing, is it? Fast forward to May 2017, accepting more migrants would be worse than any EU punishment, says a Polish minister. Wow, that's pretty fucking woke. Speaking on Polish radio, Interior Minister said agreeing to the European Union quotas would certainly be worse than any punishment Brussels could give them. His astonishing comments this morning could result in Poland being sanctioned and stripped of its voting rights. My goodness, whatever can Poland do? They can stand strong, that's what. Poland's Prime Minister says country will accept no refugees as EU threatens legal action over quotas. This is getting spicy. Poland's Prime Minister has claimed the country cannot accept refugees as the EU threatens legal action, alongside Hungary and Austria. It is one of the only 3 countries not to have relocated a single refugee, in breach of their legal obligations and commitments. The Interior Minister stuck by his position when asked, claiming that accepting migrants would have certainly been worse for Poland than facing EU action, and that the security of Poland and of the Poles was at stake and drew a link to terror attacks in Europe. Well, we do know that some terrorists, particularly the Paris attackers, did come in the migrant crisis, did use the Schengen area to get to Paris, and then did plan and execute a terror attack that killed 127 people. So, I guess Poland's just being Islamophobic, which incidentally is the defence Guernsey used. So really you should have gone for this. You should have just shrugged and gone, well, we just can't help being Islamophobes here. We're really sorry. We know it's a moral failing, but it's just not something we have control over. You know how it is. But yes, the EU is going to take action against the eastern states for refusing to take refugees. And here's a picture of a child and a baby that'll make you think, you know what, fuck having borders and laws and shit. So the Eurosceptic governments in Poland and Hungary refused to take in anyone under the plan agreed by a majority of EU leaders, obviously not by the leaders of Poland and Hungary, while the Czech Republic accepted 12 people. So out of 160,000 refugees due to be taken under the scheme agreed in 2015, only 20,000 have been relocated. In theory, countries can be fined for every refugee in the quota they fail to accept. So we're looking at 140,000 refugees times whatever it is per refugee. And I can't imagine it's going to be a small figure. So I've seen numbers of like 75 million euros or dollars floating around, but I've been unable to verify those. But apparently it's going to be quite a large amount of money. I'm sure the Poles aren't happy about that. The former Italian Prime Minister Massimo D'Alema said, "The EU cannot tolerate countries that do not respect the law that it is based on. Our fundamental values and those values are to respect human rights." Okay, but what about the human rights of the Polish people? He added, "The only way to solve the crisis is to share the burden. The burden imposed on you by Angela Merkel, the woman who said, 'Come to Europe.' She invited these people to Germany because she isn't the hegemon of Europe. She's not even part of the European Union. She is the Chancellor of Germany. No one outside of Germany voted for her, so why should anyone outside of Germany suffer the effects of her policies that she has admitted are a failure?" But it is this part that really gets me. It is not acceptable for Germany to take 1 million refugees and for some EU states to simply say no. Why? Merkel made this decision unilaterally, against the objections of the Poles and Hungarians. If they now have to take migrants because Angela Merkel wanted migrants in her country, then Angela Merkel is their sovereign and gets to dictate what they do with their countries. So I am actually completely in favour of the Poles and the Hungarians and the Czechs resisting this at all costs. And I agree with them. You know, whatever the European Union is going to burden you with, it's probably better than the refugees. Hungary and Slovakia have already gone through the court system to try and file a complaint and overturn whatever ruling that they're challenging, and they've been dismissed. So no, they're going to have to do it, or they're going to have to face fines. But not Poland. Oh no. Poland's going to break out the big guns. What's that? Angela Merkel is trying to erase Poland from World War II memory. Oh, Angela, how could you? Oh my goodness, Angela. Don't you remember what Germany did to Poland? My God, you're a monster. How could you do this to the Polish people? Why would you want to erase them from memory? Well, there's only one thing for Poland to do, in this case. Claim reparations. What's that? Germany must pay Poland up to $1 trillion in reparations? The figure could be even higher? Well, that's a good point, isn't it, Angela? I tell you what, how about Poland doesn't take any migrants, the EU fines Poland, and you can take it out of what you owe them. You fucking tyrant.